Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar today on Church360 Members. We're looking at recording attendance at worship and other events with Church360 Members. Glad that you could attend today. My name is Dave Farnham, and I will be introducing everything here this morning. Sorry, I kind of blazed past that slide there, but I will be introducing everything this morning. I'm a software consultant here with Concordia Technology Solutions. Enjoy working here and working with churches in regards to software and helping churches get equipped with software that they need to assist them to doing the work of the ministry. Today with me and actually hosting this webinar, taking us through the software, will be Ken Olemeyer, who is the Senior Manager of Marketing here at Concordia Publishing House. And so I'll be interested to hear what Ken has to say as he walks us through this webinar. A little bit of housekeeping for today. There'll be about 50 minutes for presentation. After that, it'll be about 10 minutes for questions, but do realize that you can ask your questions anytime throughout this webinar. Just put them in the chat area, and you can ask a question at any time. And so I will be glad to answer those during the webinar. Ken may answer them or show you anyway, but I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have. The recording will be shared for all of you that are watching this now, and even some that may have signed up but couldn't attend for other purposes. We will be sharing this with you after the event is done with the webinar. Now, who is Concordia Technology Solutions? Well, we are actually the church administration division of Concordia Publishing House. We have been working with churches and developing software for churches since 1984, so quite a little time here. A few assumptions we're having as we come to our webinar today is that you probably are one that is working in the church office and that you probably want to track more than just attendance there at the church, but you would like to improve a little bit of your reporting in regards to the software that you have or in regards to attendance. So I'm going to ask just a couple of questions here, and if you could reply, and I'm going to launch these questions out for you to be able to answer. So bear with me just a second as I get these launched here. So just a moment. All right. So hopefully I've got that out there for you to be able to answer that question. It's a real simple question there, easy question for us to answer. And all right. Well, it looks like we've got a good mix of people in regards to those that are already using the software, but also a number that says we're not, and a good number that says, hey, we're thinking really about going ahead and planning to subscribe soon. I'm going to ask one other question, and this is, what would you consider your Church360 skill level to be? This is probably going to be more for those that are already using the software. Of course, some of you that are considering, you may be working with a trial currently. All right, those are coming in here. All right, well, good. I'm glad to see we got a number that feel like they're intermediate, or some even more of a beginner as well. So fantastic. That's what we're here for. That's what we're going to cover, some things, hopefully give you a little bit more insight in regards to those. And so now we're going to get back here to the screen that we're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. So bear with me just a second here as I get the next screen going. Had to find that, I apologize. So we're looking at Church360 Members today, as we kind of talked about at the beginning of the webinar, but it is a part of the Church360 suite. Now, the other products in the Church360 suite are Church360 Unite, And that is our website builder and online communication tool. And then there's also the Church360 Ledger, which is our financial accounting software. Now, if there's any interest at all in either one of those, I want to let you know that we do have webinars coming up for those tomorrow. So there's one for Unite, one for Ledger. Those are happening tomorrow, and you can certainly sign up for those if you'd like to. Now, today, of course, we're looking at the 360 members. It does focus on people, attendance, and offering. We're going to look at a little bit more in regards to the attendance part. But the Church360 members really does focus on people all throughout. Even though we're looking at attendance, that really is focusing on your people, because what that does is it's going to help bring the data to light as we focus on people, because that is what the software is intended to do. What does it do? It allows you to be able to see that information and bring it to your attention, and also be able to turn that information into insight. Now, that information will help better equip you to do ministry, because it's going to allow you to know what skills, what abilities, what attendance, and how people are doing in regards to uh, um, their connectedness to the body of Christ, their connectedness the to Jesus, and so that's our overall goal. And even a church software can help you with that. So the software that we have with the 360 members is online, so it's going to give you access to that data where you need it and how you need it. It's also going to provide you with the building blocks, but it's not going to just give you a blueprint and said, this is the software, you have to use it this way, you can't customize anything, you can't pull in the different data that you want in regards to reports. So it's going to provide you with a lot of different things that you can do to customize a software to meet your ministry needs. So Church360 members, again, I mentioned just briefly, it is a cloud-based software, so it does provide you with mobile accessibility to the software. So you can get to it from anywhere. And you do have it, there's an app available too that you can put on your phone, and a lot of pastors find that very, very helpful. Um, we do provide data conversions. It's an add-on. There is a price for that, but we can help you if you're moving from another software to the 360 members. We can convert people data, attendance data, offering data. So we can talk with you further about that to help you as you might make that switch over. Now, there is no limitation on users at all. So when you're logging in, you can set the permission level of those as well. And then also when you're starting, we do provide initial training. So there'll be multiple training classes that will be just for you and your church. And ongoing, as long as you have the subscription, you do have support. So we are here to help you with that. And we'll also provide a video training library for you that's available that you could watch at any time. And it will allow you to be able to search that for training for specific reasons and purposes. So a little bit of the outline today, we'll be looking at adding people and households in here. And we're going to look at how do you add a calendar, and then events to the calendar. And then, of course, entering an attendance. And then we'll be also looking a little bit about viewing attendance trends. And then there'll be a time, of course, for questions and answers at the end. So all of that is available for us. You can certainly ask questions throughout, and I will be here to answer them. So just put them in the chat area, and I'll be glad to help. Now, what I'm going to do is hand this over to Ken Ollemeyer. Ken's going to take it from here. So bear with me just a moment as I hand this over to Ken, and then we'll be good to go.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dave, for having me in today. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time to watch this webinar. We're going to go through a lot of different things today, and As Dave mentioned, please put your questions or your chats or whatever you have into the area so Dave can respond to them. We can talk about it later. I love seeing that we've got a lot of intermediate users here, some people that have already been using this software. I'm going to probably go over some very broad things that you may already be used to, but if you're not, it's going to be completely new to you. I'm hoping I spark a question or two in your mind as well. As Dave mentioned, my name is Ken Olemeyer. I'm a senior marketing manager here at Concordia Publishing House. And we're going to talk today about attendance using Church360 members. I don't know about you, but this has been so strange, not being able to get back together fully with our church family. And I don't think personally I can ever get used to being a digital church. I know some of us are starting to get back together as congregations, expand that reach again. Many of us are still doing our online broadcasts. And it's just so important that we keep in contact with people. Yeah, for me, this pandemic has hit hard too, because one of my roles here at CPH is to go out and talk with our pastors and talk with our church leaders. Listen, understand what some of their needs are, and bring that information back. It's talking to people just like you with many different titles and responsibilities. But one of the things I hear a lot, and now as I'm Zooming with people, is how are we going to keep in touch with our members during this time? And it's a very important thing. And I think this resource here, this Church360 members, in fact, the entire Church360 suite is a tremendous resource for doing these type of things. And what we're going to do is look at this from a very big level, 30,000 foot view. And as Dave said, the CTS team and Dave and the other software technicians have been working with this software for years. They know this software like the back of their hand, inside and out. But it's one of the reasons I want to show it to you today, because I don't use this every single day. I want to show you just how easy and powerful this Church360 members software is, not only to take attendance of your members. If we just focus on attendance, we'd be done in about 2 minutes. It's that simple. But to be adding families in, to be adding information about those families, to be segmenting your families with tags and other types of things, to be looking at reports, to be downloading information. It's just that simple. It can help you organize and connect with your members. And I always tell people, look, if I can use this software, you can too. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to cover a lot of different ground, and I'm going to go through some of this very quickly, and I want to start getting into it. But this is such a great tool for you, not only as a pastor, as an administrator, but your elders and your volunteers and other people within your church. As I mentioned, I'm an elder in my church, and it's a privilege for me to serve my church body, to pray for my pastors, to pray for our members. And my role is just easy compared to what a lot of you do. But one of the things that I love is having Church360 on my phone. And Dave mentioned the mobile aspect of this. I love having it on my phone so that I can be keeping track of some of the new members that I work with and some of the information, and being able to have that in a place where the pastors can look at it, the administrators can look at it, everybody can look at it. Something to keep in mind too, Dave mentioned this is cloud-based. If you're on a Mac or if you're on a PC, you can all access this information. So it's a great way to take care of everything. So we're going to look at different calendar functions, look at different events. If we have time, we may go through some reporting. I want to just jump into this right now. So I'm going to pull up my screen. So I'm going to show my screen. Dave, let me just make sure. Okay.
I think you've got.
So I'm going to go to this screen right here. All right. I want to make sure everybody's seeing that. So that's the opening view. And for many, many years, I worked in advertising and I worked in market research. And when I worked in market research, I would always talk about behind every data point is a person. And we can never forget that. And that's where Church360 members become so important, because we look at attendance as numbers. But as we really drill down, it's all about our members and making sure that we're reaching the people that are part of our church family. And this is a tool. Church360 is only a tool. It's an easy tool. It's a great tool to use, but it's only a tool. but it is very convenient. So as we log into Church360 Members, this is the view you'll see. This is our opening screen. It's your people view, and that's why we call it Church360 Members. It's all about the people. So let me just kind of go through some of the quickly with the navigation of this. And I'm going to just have my mouse and kind of follow through this. As you look at the left side of your screen, you see a logo, opportunity to put your church logo here. You can put a photo, anything like that. It's very simple to do. If we have time, I might show you how to put a picture in. It's very simple. But let's go across the main screen and across the main navigation point from the left. You see people, you see events, you see attendance, which we're going to get into today. You see offerings, and you see reports. These are the main sections that you will always be using when you're using Church360. So we keep them top and center right there for you, so you can always grab them easily. So let's continue to the top. You see a couple other things. You see this bell right here, this message bell. This will notify you if you have any important messages, if there are any things that you need to attend to. I don't have any messages right now in my demo screen right here. The next is the gear wheel. And these are your settings. And if I drop that down, you see a number of different things in there. You see the collections that we have, our calendars, our church register, our envelopes, funds, pastoral visits, pledges, on and on and on. You see tags, and I'm going to talk a little bit about tags as we go through the presentation today. Tags is just such a great way to segment your members and to really be able to highlight areas and really be able to then grab just that information that you need at your fingertips by pulling out those tags. Then you see some of your administrative functions, your general settings, your logins. As we said, there's an unlimited number of people that can log in, which is fantastic too. And we'll talk about that later, but it's great for volunteers or ushers maybe, or your altar guild, or people who need to get into the system but don't need all the information, but they need access to different things. And that comes in with some of the roles that we do as well. Vanco integration. And Peter Frank, who's doing the webinar tomorrow, may talk about this with Ledger, how Vanco integrates with this, and how that, if you're doing online donations right now, how important that is, and having that information integrate right into your information here. Texting is something that has recently been added to this as well. So the opportunity to be able to contact your members via text is a great addition. And then an event log. In all of the Church360 suite of software, there's always an event log. So you can always go back and see what has been added, what has been deleted, where people have gone, things of that nature. And it's specific to things like Ledger and other software, but Ledger is fantastic because it really does keep track of things for auditing purposes and such. But again, not so much here in Members. And then the final thing here is your personal profile settings. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go too deep into that. We head back to the left side now of our screen, and you see this is what we're here for. This is our people section. And from the people section, you can look at things a little different ways. You can go individuals, I can go households, I can go givers, I can go marriages. And what's great about this is it's a way to really build community. If I wanted to change this view and just look at the households of the people in our church, I can do that. You'll notice a few things too as I scroll down here. You notice that there are photographs, and I mentioned how easy it is to add pictures. If you have a church directory, you can easily add the photos of all your members into your Church360 Members. And I love that because as an elder, I need to have faces with names. I'm just horrible unless I learn faces with names. So it's very helpful to have all that. I'm just going to go back to individuals right here. And you notice this type to filter people. This is a filter bar that we have here. And this is so easy because now if you want to just find one particular person or maybe a zip code or something like that, let's try something here. And I'm just going to do this for the demo, 63119. Let's see what I get. That's a zip code here in St. Louis. And I don't have anybody who lives in that area, but okay, let's do this. Let's type in Jones. So I'm picking up people whose last name is either Jones or there's some type of Jones within their name there, Nikki Barnes, Ruth Morgan, her children is Curtis Jones. So you see how simple that is to be able to go and filter people out. So let me get back to that. All right, let's keep moving to the right. You see a couple different options here as well. One is upload. And this is primarily used here in our people section. We can import information either from a vCard or from our Shepherd Staff database. And if you're currently using Shepherd Staff, we can easily transfer that over. As Dave mentioned, there's a separate cost to that. Kind of, I believe it's a one-time fee, but Dave and the folks at CTS can help you with that. Very simple to do. You also then see download. And let me just click into that. Some of us really love to do customized databases. And think about it again, data is only as good as how you can use it. So maybe you need to download that attendance record for your elders or your deacons. Or maybe as a pastor, you want to download that new member list with the names and faces so that you can learn those faces. Or let's say, especially during this time of pandemic, you're doing Bible studies and you want to maybe do a mailing out to the women's Bible study group. Here's where you would do that. You would pull the addresses and the labels. You see, you can export, you can go as a CSV or as an Excel file. You can download different areas. You can go into contribution statements, the directory, mailing labels, etc. Very simple to do from here. Still to the right, you see print. Again, that's pretty self-explanatory. This is perfect if you just want to print out an individual record or just showing what's on your screen. And then the last opportunity is to customize and save reports. We're going to talk about this a lot during this hour. These are building blocks. We don't say this is the only way it has to be. So there's a lot of customization you can do. And then you can save those reports, and then you can have those reports for later. So let me keep moving forward. And the last important section in this area, you see this right here. It's showing the people in our congregation, and you can filter out with this drop down. Right now I'm showing everybody. These are different tags that we've developed. I've got altar grilled, I've got delinquents, yeah, that's a tag. Our elders, let me just click into that and you'll see how, okay, right now I just have Ben Jones listed as one of my elders, but you can see if I add these tags to people, just how, let's go to married people, let's see if that, okay. So these are all our married couples in our congregation. So, let me just go through here and just go back to everyone so that I don't lose that. I am going to say right now too, we're getting a heck of a storm here in St. Louis. So hopefully we're not going to have any data connection issues or anything like that. But just be aware. I'm hoping that our connection stays fine the whole time. The other thing you see here is this hamburger menu. And I showed some of the tags and the different ways to go through and sort people. This hamburger menu allows you to do some additional filtering. So you can go in here and add certain traits. Let's say I want to add people who are male and who are, let's just say baptized. I can add that trait, I can save that group. It will show me just those people that have the traits that I want to do. One time I worked with a pastor and helped talk through a way to do this for pastoral visits. He wanted to get a look at all the pastoral visits he had made within the past year. So we were able to put some of these additional filters in place and then save that report, and he was able to quickly see pastoral visits. So there's a lot that you can do with this additional area there of sorting. Look, I've got custom group. Notice this. I went from everyone to just 89 people. So keep that in mind as you're working through the software. If you want to get back, make sure you just take it back to everyone so that I'm not losing any members. I've done that before where I've gone through it and I look at it and say, why am I not seeing all these people? It's because I didn't go back to the main screen. The last thing here is columns. And this is great because you see this wide expanse of information that I'm seeing across my screen right now. I can change this. I can just have the things that matter to me. So let me just click out of there. I want addresses. I want age. I need to know baptisms. I want to know what days they were baptized. Run a special report so that I'm not missing that. Maybe I want to know if they have children. Click into that. I can set this column up any way that I want. And I have a lot of opportunity with that. So again, just for today's demo, I'm just going to click on everything so that we get everything there. It's a great way to do that. Now, those are all the navigational tools. Again, there's so much that you can do with this. You're not going to break anything as you're playing around with this. If you are new to the software and new to starting to work with this, mess around with it. Keep trying different things. Let me show you something though. If you get in a bind, always down here at the bottom, especially as one of our administrators on Church360 Members, you'll have this. You see a little circle I. Click into that circle I. It talks about the specific section that you're in. So you're able to swap, put a question in here, or you're able to look at suggested articles that would pop up related to your question. You're also able to have a lifeline. You can send us a message here. Put your subject matter in. Try to type as much information as you know so we can address your question promptly the first time and not keep going back and forth. That can always be frustrating when you're working on software, but sometimes you may not know even what you're asking. That's okay too. But put it in there, send it to us. One of our CTS team will be in contact with you. We'll get you the answer. You can always call us too at an 800 number here at the bottom, 800-346-6120. There's nothing more frustrating than working with software. And here, let me click out of that. I'll find out why I've got that going. There's nothing more frustrating than working with software and not having it easier for you. There is always a learning curve with things, but this learning curve is so easy that you'll be picking this up in no time flat. All right, so I'm going to, I know what it is. I clicked on Susie Barnes. So I just clicked off of her. So real quick while I'm there. So let's just click on Dave Abbott. And you see down at the bottom of my screen, I have some different options. I can bulk archive them. I can bulk update them. I can add or remove tags. So Dave has a few tags that I've already listed in here. But I can also, from here, send him an email or I can send him a text. So this is a great way to do it too. If there's just one or two people, type their name in, get their contact information, send them the text, send them the email that you need. All right, I'm going to click out of that. So those are all the navigational tools. I've added a couple different things in here. Let's get into attendance. But before we do that though, let's look at events. So let's take a quick look at events because it's so important to keep track of all your members. And it's also important to keep track of all the events that are going in your church. I know I look at my church and I look at our bulletin and it's canceled, 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 canceled. But during a normal time frame, we are so packed with events going on just about every single day, evenings, everything else, that if I were a church administrator or a pastor or one of the organizers, I'd have a hard time keeping track of that. And if you're like me, you'd love to have an updated calendar. And this is what this view will show you. Just like everything else, though, we have some opportunities to customize this. If you look at our calendars here, I've got everything on right now. Let me just click off of that. Let's just take a look at this and say we want to put in our worship services and something I'm going to talk about a little bit when we talk about attendance. I've added a new category, live stream. We're doing live stream worship now. How are we going to keep attendance of these people? How are we not going to miss them? So we'll talk about a couple different ideas on it. But so these are a couple different things. I mentioned pastoral visits, or maybe some pastoral visits. There's nothing here, but let me show you. I'll keep track of some of those. As you look at your events and you look at this calendar, I'm going to get out of this right here. You see that this is my day view. This is where I am right now in this month, but I can go back and I can go back into previous months and click through. Let's see if I had any pastoral visits there. No, but again, for the sake of this demonstration, here I visited Mary Wynn on the 22nd of March. So if you're keeping track of all these type of things, it's a very helpful way to get a quick view of this. I'm a very visual person. I need to see something like this, and I love having it all right here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to where we were. So a couple different things in this too. We can download this calendar, which is fantastic. I can download it as a Microsoft Word document, which is very helpful because I can then go in and format it, add it to my bulletins, add it to my newsletters, etc. I can print it out for the pastor. Pastor may need to see a list of what's going on this week. I can grab the weekly view because I can go from a week standpoint like that, or I can go from a month standpoint. So whatever is more helpful for you. And then, as I said earlier, I can go in and I can change different calendar views and different things of this nature. Again, there are things that you can add here because this is a building block. You can add your baptisms, you can add your birthdays, and just those little touches of sending a quick email to that member, or maybe a text message, or if we're still doing it old school, send a card. And just write a little note in there, say, hey, blessings on your baptism birthday, and things like that. It goes so far into building that relationship within our congregation. And Church 360 Members allows you to do that so easily that it's just that easy. All right, so we can't take attendance until we have an event. I've shown some of the different events here. I've shown some of the navigation. There's ways to just quickly add events. We can go in here to new. When you click on new, a button or a window pops up, and it's just like anything in adding an event to your Google Calendar or to your Outlook calendar or things of that nature. It's the same type of thing. So let's just say Zoom Bible study. See, and here's something great too. I've already started a Zoom Bible study. So as soon as I start typing that in, it's in there. You say, what do those little bitty things do for me? Well, they save time. And if we can save you time with this software, you can then spend it in other areas of ministry, and you can be doing other things. So just little things like that I love about this software. So I'm adding it to a calendar. I've got different calendars here. These are some tags that I've already put in. I bet you if I put in Bible study, well, I'm seeing two different things. I'm seeing my 2020 Vacation Bible School, Rainforest Explorers, or I'm seeing Vacation Bible School. But let me see if I've got Bible study in here. Study. I don't yet. So I'm going to put that in there. This will add that tag. So all I do is I put Bible study in there. Location, very simple. I mean, again, some of this is so self-explanatory. I don't want to take our time to go through it too far, but you can see that we can repeat things. We can add details. But here's the thing I want to show. There are areas down at the bottom when you add an event. One of them is attendance taken. And if you click on attendance taken, that's how we're going to be able to add attendance. So it's so important when you're starting to add events or you're modifying existing events to be sure that you're looking at these three areas down below and clicking on them and saving those. So I want to make sure I take attendance. My Zoom Bible study would not be something that I was taking communion in, perhaps, so I'm not going to click on that, but I may want to take an offering. And it's important to do that because we can add that information into our Church 360 members. We can keep track of people's tithes and offerings, and then that will then go into our ledger product as well and keep everything in one thing. So just adding this, is today the 12th? Today is the 12th, so let's just say we're doing it today, and it's going to be at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So maybe it's a confirmation or something like that. So anyway, I've added that event in there. So it's just so easy to do that. Again, all this information is at your fingertips, and that's what's great about it. And having all this information is a huge time saver. So both of these features, the calendar and our people are available on our app. And just imagine how convenient that will be to be able to pull up a member's information before you go for a home visit, or you see them down away and you pull up some information real quick so that you can talk to them about something that's on your mind, and just how easy it is to do that. So we talked about how to add the events and all this. We've talked about downloading this. And I know we've been coming through some very strange and difficult months lately. And we're just now getting these opportunities to get back together, as I said earlier, and to celebrate, to reconnect. The event section keeps all of that in place. And it's an opportunity for all of that information to be stored in one simple place to go find. And as I said, you can do the tags and everything else. But I'm this late into our presentation, but I now want to talk about attendance. But I had to do events first, because if you don't have events, you don't have attendance. So let's click over to our tab at the top where it says attendance. And we click into attendance. And this is the screen you see. And this is great because you now see a list of my members, and you see the graph above. And the graph above gives you just a visual clue of some recent attendance figures and different things like this. And I can move it around, and you see the dates change as it goes under attendance, or you see it come to today and different things of this nature. So you see a couple different things here. I can look at attendance for everyone. Again, the building blocks of being able to customize your screen. I can look at different calendars. So let's say I just wanted to look at worship attendance. I can do that. Right now, I'm just going to, for the sake of this demonstration, just keep it on all. I can also change the columns here as well. So maybe I don't need to see all that information in my attendance view. I can change these columns and make it simple to view. But to enter attendance, and that's what this webinar is all about. Like I said, it's taken me a little bit of time to get there, but we had to talk about events, and I'll talk about people in a little bit too. But to add attendance, it's so easy. So I want to just click on that enter attendance button. And you see that in this section now, something has occurred. My screen has changed, and I'm seeing a list of names. I'm seeing what the event is. And then I'm seeing a list of events on my right of the screen. And you can only take you can only take attendance for events that have occurred. We can't take events. We won't know what the events in the end of this summer and early fall are going to be. So even though we have them on our calendar, we're not going to be able to take events or take attendance for them. But we are able to pull the attendance for things that have occurred. And again, the recommendation, because this is access through the web, and you need to take attendance, and sometimes you're not in the church office. You can do this in your lounge chair at home. You can do this in your couch. You can do this at the kitchen table. You can put the attendance figures in and all this. Great deal of flexibility on how you access this. So sometimes, it might be every couple weeks, maybe you take the attendance, or you're doing it every week and you're doing it at, a specific day or time or whatever. You now have the flexibility to do it when and where you want to do it. So let's take a look at this. It looks like a lot of information, but it is actually very, very simple. And let's take a look at this. Just for instance, let's take a look at last Sunday's attendance. So I'm going to click into last Sunday, August the 9th. And I have two different things here, and I've tagged this in a couple different ways. One, we've started having an 8 o'clock service again, where we're worshiping in person. And I want to keep attendance of that. So here's my 8 o'clock. So I click into that. Whoops, sorry. And this was not a communion service. You can see that right off the bat. And I'll show you a different service that takes communion. But I can type in to filter family names if that's an easier way to do that. Again, let's say I wanted to go to Jones. I can do that and type that in and filter those names out. Or I can just click down through. And as I click down through, I just start clicking into their names and into their family names. If the entire family was there, I just click on their last name and the entire family shows up. Let's say maybe just Troy and Kira were there. I just click on their names directly and they show up. And I hope, you're seeing it on my screen. It changes the tone quality so you can tell who you signed up. Well, let's just click through some of these. And this is why attendance is so easy. It's just clicking through. It's just going through there, clicking the Carters, the Culbersons, maybe Art Dean showed up, but Virginia was not able to attend in person. Peter Frank, who you'll see tomorrow on some of the webinars, or if you're watching these tomorrow in person, Jason Freeman, the Hall family, etc. Now, notice a couple different things as I just kind of click through how easy it is to take the attendance. I'm also getting a total down here. So watch the bottom right corner of my screen, and you see my attendance, my numbers are going up. So I'm able to do all of this, click through people and do that. And let's say I just wanted to put an additional head count. So maybe I had a handful of visitors come into my service. We love seeing the visitors. So maybe I had another 15 visitors come in. All I do is I click in there, it adds it, it automatically saves it. The attendance for this 8 a.m. worship service on Sunday, August the 9th has now been taken care of. So I want to show something else though, because this is something now that many of us are dealing with, and that's doing it as a live stream service. So obviously on a live stream service, we're not taking communion during that as well, but how do we sign up people for the live stream service? that's going to be dependent on what works best for you. Maybe it's through the text feature of Church360 Members. Maybe it's through the email feature of Church360 Members. Maybe you're reminding people through the week, hey, if you're watching our service online, please let us know so we can keep track of our members and how many people are seeing it. You'll see the Google Analytics, and you'll see some of the back end numbers on YouTube and maybe on your Facebook and things like that. But as a church person who is worried about the flock, take a moment out just to ask them, invite them to let you know they're watching your live stream service. You can set this up as a tag. I set this up as an event to go through during this time so that I'm able to keep track. So again, this might be something as simple as the Chungs watched it online, the Clayton family watched it online, the Kesslers watched it online, the Krauses watched it online, the Matthews watched it online. Patricia McGuire was able to watch it online, but Alexander wasn't. The Montgomerys can watch it online. And you see my numbers adding up and all that. And during this time, and this is a strange time for many churches right now, the idea that we're not together as a church family. I love the fact, though, that we've got so many Lutheran churches broadcasting their services and getting our divine service out there to many more people. Keep track of those people, and this is a way you can do it. Now, it's just as simple as adding a tag into your event section. It's determining how long this is going to go. Again, the actual finding out that information, we're going to rely on you. There's no way in here right now to do it unless they're sending you cards, or it's just like an attendance card. You still have to manually put that information in, but it's so simple to do that don't lose that information. It's so simple to add it, so you might as well have that included. So those are a couple of different church services right there. Let me find one that has communion. And I want to show you how we can keep track of communion. So you notice I have a tag here that says communion. You also notice I have my live stream and my Sunday worship. So again, the live stream, there's different ways you can think through that as well too. That might be something you just keep open all week, or you just have it tagged to that particular Sunday, knowing that people may watch it at different times of the week. Go back in and add that information. Okay, communion service. I'm going to click on Sunday, August the 2nd with communion. Keeping in mind, when I put the event in, I clicked communion and attendance taken. That's why you see this. So when it's in a communion service, all you need to do is, again, if the whole family took communion, click on their name. If everybody, let's say within the Carter family, Leon and Teresa, and I'd have to go back and check if Brandon and Michelle are old enough to take communion, if they're confirmed and taking communion. But if it's members of the family who don't take it, you don't click on the chalice right there. But you can go through and just click. Very simple. Again, I have multiple people. I have individuals. I'm clicking and I'm just keeping track of communion. You see down here at the bottom of my screen, bottom of my web page, I'm showing how many. If I wanted to select all, it's very simple to do. And then I can go through. I mean, it might be simpler for you to take the people off who aren't taking communion in certain services. So, there's multiple ways to do this, and they all will save you time in the long run. So you can't break it. You're not going to do any damage to the software if you're messing around with it and you're trying to figure it out. But as soon as we get off of that, we're saving it. And as soon as we click back into our attendance, you now see, again, some spikes in some areas where I've just put some information in. I hope if you have any questions, put them into our chat. We'll discuss them further. But a lot of this is somewhat self-explanatory. And a lot of it, because these are building blocks, depend upon your congregation, your specific needs within the congregation. There are ways to then work through the software and put particular tags and put particular things in that may be beneficial to you directly. Now, where does this type of thing come in handy, especially when you were taking attendance? Well, you could be taking attendance of your members of a confirmation class, or people who require pastoral visits, or maybe any other type of event that has attendance taken, and you want to keep track of that. And one of these really great building blocks I keep talking about is adding this live stream. is being able to add specific types of things. It might just be, maybe it's a retirement party or something for one of your members, and you just want to kind of get a sense of who's there. You can do that. You can take those type of attendance. And I love that too from a archival situation of really being that in tune with your members in your congregation that you can look back years from now and say, so-and-so was there and so-and-so attended. And this is a great way to build relationships. It's really getting to know your members and getting to know their preferences. All right, I've mentioned that you can go through all this and you're not going to break it. There's nothing that you're going to mess up in the software. This is all cloud-based, so it's very simple to get back to where you need it to be. I mentioned tags earlier. I'm going to show that when I want to just show how to add a person. So let's add a new member. Because again, we can have events and we can have attendance taken, but if we don't have people in our congregation, what good is Church360 Members going to do for you? And I know all of us have people in our congregation. So let's add a new person, a new family into our congregation. We'll just do this for the next couple minutes. I'll show you how simple this is, and then we'll break and have our Q&A. So again, let's do a person. I'm back on my home screen. I'm looking at people, individuals, or I can do people, households. I'm just going to do an individual right now and just show you how easy this is. I click on new, window pops up. It's going to take me straight to the household though. So let's say new household name, Morris. Okay. So, and I picked Morris because now you already see we've got a couple different Morris selections. We've got Morrison family, Aaron, Christopher, Jeffrey, and Michelle. But this is a new family. So I'm going to just click on the Morrises. And this particular member is, let's say, Mike Morris. So Mike has joined. He's male. He is now a new member. And let's just add, let's build out the family a little bit. So Mike and his wife, Nancy. And again, I'm just tabbing. I can just tab over, or I can take my mouse and click in particular. If we wanted to add children names here, we could do that very simply. We could add some other members of the family right now. Now, there are a couple different ways to go through this too. I can either just add it or add and edit. For simplicity's sake, either way, it will take me to pretty much the same screens. But for simplicity, let's just go to add and edit, and I'll show you how to put this information in. Okay, it's thinking right now, so it shows me the Morris household, the Morris family. It gives me the members of the family. I can actually click in. I can delete if I needed to do that. If I click into the name, it shows me the particular member, but let's go back and add some information before we go too far. I'll show you how just easy it is to add data in here. Address. So let's put in their address. And again, these are fictional families. This is nobody in particular. I'm just pulling addresses and names out. But let's say they live at 427 Oak Street. I bet you we all have an Oak Street somewhere in our area. Oh, I did not click that. Okay, there we go. Now I need to tab down to city and state. Okay, well, St. Louis, let's just do that. St. Louis 63118. It may be one of the suburbs, but for us, it just pops it up that way. And we have the opportunity too. We can keep this information unlisted if they don't want to be a part of the directory or anything like that. Maybe their mailing address is different. We do that, but let's click off of that. This is great. I love this feature here too. When we click in the address, it connects to Google Maps and it shows us exactly where it is. Again, the time-saving effort of being able to look at an elder zone and see where all your families are, or if you're laying out a bunch of pastoral visits, trying to get the people in the same zip code in the same area, being able to do that. And this is invaluable when you're using this on your Android or your iPhone, when you're doing it from a mobile standpoint. So just clicking out of there. I love this, being able to do that. We can also add phone numbers. We can add email addresses. All of this is self-explanatory. I'm not going to go too far into any of that because we're starting to hit it up on time. But there's a lot of things you can add there. There's some different personal things, and I'll show that for Mike. But here's something I love too, adding the history. So I can add a note to this, and I can do it any particular day, and a note's coming from me, but I can add others who are doing this. But let's say on the 9th, this past Sunday, Mike asked that we pray for his mother and father. They are in a nursing home and miss seeing everyone at church, everyone at church. So I can just add a simple note like that, and I hit enter. I can see who we want to see this, and this goes into the roles. And I don't know if we're going to have time to talk about roles. Maybe I can, but we can say I want my administrators to see this, my church admin staff. I want my elders to see this note. Maybe if I had a specific elder for the Morris family, I could put their name in there. I want our pastors to see this, and when I do that, those are the people that are going to be able to see this. And again, I don't think we're going to have enough time today to really do it justice, talking about roles and tags and the opportunity to see different views of this software. So be looking for another webinar and those type of things. We address those at different times. But I love this because we can start building a history of comments. And I love it too on the phone. I'm a new member elder in my church, as I mentioned earlier. And when we were all together in services, I could type in notes. I could type in a note about one of our new members was soon to have a baby. Well, they've since had the baby, so I can update my note with the baby's name and the birth date and all these type of things so that we're not losing that information and so that we're keeping track of it and we're building those relationships. So there are different things here and there. Yeah, let me just go into Mike's personal information and show you how to do that. Now you see our notes and our addresses, and if I had included the phone number and the email address, all that carries over. So we see all that in a good view. Now you start seeing a lot of other things here to the right. And I don't have a photo quickly that I could pull up, but if I wanted to add a photo, all I would do is upload a photo right here. And I love this feature, but you see all these different things I have on my files and I don't have it. So, but you could upload a photo very easily. You can add a family photo. You can crop out specific people, or you can keep everybody together. I can do things like add ethnicity group. And for some churches, it's not, you don't have to do that, but for some churches, they really like to be able to do that so that they get a sense of the ethnic breakup of their church or makeup of their church, if you will. It's also helpful as you're putting in different reports and things like this. So that's a neat feature. You don't have to do that. In fact, you don't have to do any of these things. It would give you the building blocks. You can put Mike's birthday in here. You can put his baptism date, his confirmation date. As your members pass and actually go home to be with Jesus, you can put their deceased date in here as well. Occupation, on and on and on. So many tags, so many easy things to do. I'm getting bumped up on time, but let me just show you a tag. Again, let's say Mike is interested in men's Bible study. I type that in. He loves to do Bible study. He's an usher. I start typing that in. It's a tag. You can put in things like hobbies and what he likes to do as a hobby, different things like that. So then you can segment this audience. If you're taking attendance, you can make sure that you've marked their attendance in those areas. But it's just, again, such a great feature. And I'm not going to go into the rest of it here because you can also do things like occupation and if you've done background checks, if you want to put in some of their social media on here, you always have the circle I right there to do that as well. So that's how easy it is to do members. That's how easy it is to put some tags in. And they all provide just basic insights on your people. So I'm pushing it against time. We've got about 6 minutes. I was going to show a couple other things like reports, offerings. If I click into that, you can make sure that you're checking your offerings. You have the reporting that you can do. And I love this because this will give you real-time reports. As I said earlier, data is only as good as how we can use it. If you needed to see a real-time report, because this is online, it's always current for you as much as you're putting in the data and the information. But then you can also go in and download these reports and share these reports with others. So I'm going to go back to people. And I want to just a couple of different things. We talked about roles and permissions. I know, Dave, I keep saying I'm going to finish it up, but I get excited about this software. And there's always 2 or 3 more things to show. Roles and permissions. This is the area, and I did this under my gear. And this is where you can actually set up roles, set up permissions, set up things. What I love about this is, let's say many of us just came off of VBS. You can have your VBS director And all your VBS volunteers, you can set up a role for them so that they're just able to see that. Let's see if I have a VBS team down here. Volunteers. I can click into that. It shows me where then I can just give them certain privileges, not give them certain privileges, give them certain things to see and all this. Again, it frees up time for the administrative people within your church not to have to worry about being the only gatekeepers to some of this information. You can still be the gatekeeper for the important information, but the important information of that particular group can be then shared with the others in the roles as well. So I've whipped through a ton of this stuff. There's one final thing. This is my final thing. I just want to let you know that we are here for you. We have a team dedicated to working with you on this software, the whole Church360 suite, and that's our Concordia technology solution, folks. There's so much that you can do with this software. And I just gave a quick overview. We just started to scratch the surface. I really do hope that I raised a couple questions in your mind. I hope that you looked at this and said, wow, I wonder if I could do this in my congregation. Let us know. Call us, ask us. We're here to help. We do these type of webinars frequently, so keep those emails coming. That's the best way that we're able to send you information. Stay on our mailing list, please. I know we send out a lot of information with a lot of different subjects, but that's the easiest and most cost-effective means for Concordia Publishing House to keep in contact with you. So we really do appreciate it when you look at those emails and read those emails and respond to those emails. So Dave, with all of that, we've got a couple minutes left. I want to switch it back to you. Can you grab my screen, or do I need to share my screen back to you?
I think you'll need to share your screen back with me.
I'm going to change presenter back to Dave, and Dave is going to wrap up. I'm going to stay on so that if there's any other questions that I can help answer, I'll be here as well.
All right. Hopefully you can see my screen again. And it does say start a free trial there. So one of the things that you can do, if you haven't already, is to start a free trial at the Church360 website. Easiest way to remember it for me even is go to 360members.com. Start a free 30-day trial. You'll have access completely to the software. Ken mentioned earlier that some of you may be using our PC-based software, Shepherd Staff. That type of data conversion from Shepherd Staff to Church360 Members is free. There's no cost for that at all. However, there is cost for those that are using other software outside of Shepherd Staff. If you're bringing in that and want to bring in that data, yes, there is a cost for that, but we can go over that if you would like to. We do not hide the cost at all, and the price of the subscription for the software. In fact, I'm going to show it to you here. It's on our website as well. It's all based upon the number of member households. So again, some people might get a little tripped up. Oh my gosh, how many members? It's not based on that. It's how many households in your church have one or more members in it. So let's say it's a family of 4, and they're all members. Well, that's just one member household, and that's how the pricing is based upon. Any prospective families, visitor families, those are not counted. Again, if you're bringing in data from other software and you have historical data, like people that they were members, but they're no longer members, they've transferred their membership away, you still want to have them in your database, yes, you can bring them in. And no, they do not count towards a pricing structure whatsoever, or people who have passed away and that whole household they're deceased. Again, you have all that data and can have that in the database. They can be in what we call an archive area. They do not count towards your pricing at all. I don't want to talk too much about pricing, but again, we don't hide that from you. We want you to know exactly what that is. There is a startup fee of $199 when you're getting started, but we are going to completely get you trained up and ready to go, which I think you'll find as you start to to play around with the software and begin to use it. It's very intuitive and easy to use. Here's my contact information here if I can be of assistance to you. I am glad to help in any way that I can. And then again, we have just a minute or so, questions and answers. What I'm going to do is actually just share a couple of answers to questions that have come up. And that would be, we just keep a head count. I think Ken showed this too, but can you quickly just keep a head count, a number, instead of doing the whole person by person attendance? And the answer was, again, absolutely, you can do that. The other question that came up was, Ken showed a tag. Can that be used in attendance? Absolutely, yes, you can do that. So let's say you create a men's Bible study, as he showed on one example. You place that tag on, the 15 men that generally come to that Bible study, and then you can keep attendance based upon that tag. And when you're keeping person by person attendance, only those 15 men show up. So it's super easy to be able to keep attendance there. So I hope that's helpful for you in answering some of those questions. Let me see. I think there's another question that's coming in here, so bear with me just a second, and I'm going to take a look.
That actually may be me, Dave. I just added my email too. So if anybody would like to contact
Okay.
me or has any questions,
Oh, yep.
feel free. And I will, if I don't have the answer, I'll definitely pass it over to Dave or Stephen or any of the other folks here.
Okay. So again, this is pretty much it for today. I do want to remind you that, and I'm going to go back a slide or two here. Bear with me just a moment as I try to get here. But anyway, I do want to remind you that we do have the additional webinars tomorrow on both Unite, which is a website builder and online communication tool, and then also Ledger, which is our financial accounting software. So both of those will be displayed tomorrow. But I want to thank you so much for your time in taking a look at everything here with us. Again, I think I may stay on just a few minutes extra in case there are any additional questions, but this webinar is officially over. And thank you so much for attending. It's been our pleasure. And Ken, any final words that you have?
No, thank you again for being here. We're here to help. If there's anything we can do, please don't hesitate to contact us. That's what we're here for. Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much for attending. Have a great day, everyone.